Hey everybody, it's Sophie from Heuston Floral here. It's been a very busy couple of months on the farm. It's right now the first week of July and I haven't filmed a single thing. It's been so busy and I've just put that to the very bottom of my priority list. There's still so many projects happening, but we've got all of our annual flowers in the ground now and we have a couple of projects going on. So I thought I would take you guys along on a quick little tour, show you what the farm looks like right now, and tell you a little bit about something that's very exciting that's coming up right now. So right behind me here is the annual patch. So our annual patch is a 50 by 100 patch. Woo, that sun is bright today. And in here we've got all kinds of annuals planted. So most of the annuals that we have in here right now are things that we have planted before. We've got sunflowers, we've got orleia, um, we've got amaranth and zinnias and all kinds of Queen Anne's lace varieties, cosmos, but we're also trying out a few new things this year. For example, we've got these lovely guys called corn cockle. Oh my goodness, we're swaying a lot. They are beautiful little flowers. However, when I first planted them, I thought that they were a cut and come again flower, but it turns out they are not. They are a one and done. So we have this tiny little patch here that I was hoping to cut off of all season. But once all of these bloom, this patch will actually be done for the season. So I'm going to have probably some cosmos going to come in here behind these guys and fill in because I have some extras. Another new thing we planted this year is stock and snapdragon. It's not something we've grown before, and I was a little nervous to grow it, but this is our little stock patch. They should really be planted closer together, but we're testing them out this year. So we have a beautiful little pink stock here. And then we've got some snaps. Snaps are just kind of all over the place. We have a few different patches just based on where we had holes in the field. So this is one of the little patches, and you can see all these guys starting to come up here now. So they are doing really well. So next year I'll be doing full rows of stock and snapdragon and planted much closer together. We've got 3 lovely rows of zinnias and then 2 rows of cosmos and 2 rows of dahlias up here. So all the planting of this stuff took quite a while, a couple of weeks to get everything in. Well, a couple of weeks to get the majority of things in, and then things kept slowly going in for a couple of weeks after that, amongst other projects. Here you can see our scabiosa row just exploding. So these are all of our perennial scabiosas that we planted last season. And now in the first week of July, they're just going bananas. So there's gonna be a lot of deadheading happening in here to make sure that we keep getting new flushes all season long. But this is the thing I really wanted to show you guys. Look at the mess we've made. So right behind me here, we've got our peony patch. And this was the first year. You can see we've got some bigger bushes. We've got some things that are still a little bit small. But we've got quite a few plants that are really well established. And that's because some of the plants that we acquired and purchased had a lot of eyes on them. So they didn't take, the typical 3 to 4 years to establish. They kind of were ready to go after 2 years. So we had a lot of plants to cut off of this year. And we had about 3 weeks of super peony abundance. And I kept up with it as best I could. However, we don't have a cooler here on the farm. The only cooler that we have is up in Ottawa at our Sage Designs office building. And I've got this horsefly that's just hanging out. So I was having to run up to Ottawa every day with armloads of peonies to try to get them dry packed because I wanted to try to keep as many of them as I could so that we could use them throughout the season. And I was still missing some. Like there were some bushes that we had to harvest off of 2 or 3 times a day in order to catch them at the perfect phase. And this is the case with a lot of flowers on the farm. We have a lot of different things. You have to kind of catch them when they're ready. And if you don't, they fade very quickly. and you can't cut off them anymore. So we really needed a cooler here on the farm. Hence this great big mess we've made. So this is our floral shed that we purchased last year and put in here at the top of the garden. And my dad has spent 3 days digging this trench and filling it with sand. And this trench goes all the way back to their house. So we've got about 350 feet of trench dug up here. And we're going to be running power to the shed so that we can put a flower fridge in there. So while Dad was working on the trench, Jay and I and my brother-in-law Matt were in here working on building out the flower cooler. So I'm going to take you guys in so you can have a look at how it looks right now. So the shed is quite messy right now. You can see we've got everything moved over to one side. Not that it was super organized before, it has kind of become a catch-all, but this is the cooler space here. I've just zoomed out a bit so you guys can see a little better. So this is a 5x7 cooler, and our shed is 18 by 10 or 10 by 18. So along this 10-foot wall, we put in 5-foot framing. So what you can see here is we've got the framing, and then we've got the insulation batting. This is like an R11 or R12 insulation. We've got an air conditioner and a cool bot. So this is the same system we use to build out our floral fridge at our shop in Ottawa. This is just a bit of a smaller scale. And then on the inside, still not finished. Ooh, it's already cool in here. Like I opened the door and I can feel a little rush of cool air coming in, which is strange because there's nothing's running yet because we don't have power. On the inside, we have covered all of the walls with foam insulation. We've started to tape joints. We still have some more joints to tape. We've also added insulation and plywood to the floor so that we're not losing any cold air through there. And then our air conditioner will get hooked up to our cool bot, and this will help us harvest flowers right here at the farm at the right stage and keep them cool and alive until we actually need them. So this is super exciting because I really, really wanted to have power to the shop, and I really wanted to have a cooler here. And another thing that we're doing while we have this trench dug up is we're actually going to be running water to both our perennial flower bed and our annual flower bed so that we can run drip line down those beds without having to run hoses across the whole farm. And then we'll have water run up to the shed as well. I don't love the mess. Every time we have to take on a big project, we have to dig up the yard, and it's quite messy. Like this is 350 feet of trench that is about 16 inches wide and about 2 feet deep. And then we're going to have to come back in and backfill all of this and try to clean this up. But it's going to be so, so, so worth it. We had to do the same thing last year with the drain tile down at the bottom of the field. It was messy, but once it was all cleaned up, and now it's great. It's all filled in, and it's back to normal. And that drainage tile has worked so, so well. It's made a huge, huge difference this season. One of the really nice things to come out of this project is that this property is just full of rocks. So we've got all of these great rocks and these piles of dirt here. We're going to try to collect as many of them as we can because we want to put some of them up at the front garden. You guys might remember that we started a front garden up by the parking lot in the driveway. We're surrounding it with rocks. So we definitely need a few more up there. And I have another few projects in mind, things that I would like to do with some rocks around the property. So we're going to collect as many of these guys out of the dirt pile as we can, so we have all these fun rocks to work with for projects coming up. Over here in the perennial patch, things have been going really, really well. We had a huge flush of foxglove. We've cut back quite a few of them that died off, but this patch was just full and beautiful. And some of the foxglove were, I swear, 6 feet tall. They were taller than me. So those are doing amazing. And then we've planted in a few different varieties of astilbe and astrantia here in this row. And then the next row over is just starting to come up, and I'm very excited about it. So we've got a mix of in this row of echinacea and a new breed of flower called echinacea, which is a cross between rudbeckia and echinacea. So these guys are called Summerina Summer Glow. We've got quite a few of them in here mixed in with our echinacea. And so far, we're pretty happy with them. They're very pretty. I've been deadheading them a bit because I really want them to focus on getting larger and taller. But you can see even this just little guy here, he's got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blooms that I can see right now. And the plant is still quite small. So I feel like these guys are going to be very, very productive. This is still their first season. I just planted them in the spring. And I think I'm going to be very happy with them. And then you can see some of our more established echinacea over here. Like these guys are so tall. This color is so pretty, like a peachy pink tone over here. Yeah, so I'm really excited for this patch. I'm just hoping some of these taller echinacea don't shade out some of our smaller echinacea too much before they have a chance to establish themselves. And then not too far down from our echinacea patch and echinacea patch, we have what used to be our mixed row. So we've moved a lot of the plants from this row over to the front garden, and we've covered this up with tarp because I'm going to plant something in the fall. I don't know what yet. I'm not sure, but I want something else in this row in the fall. So I'm getting the ground ready. The mixed row was just not working out. There was just too many weeds, and with the different varieties of plants and no weed barrier, it was just impossible to keep up with. The maintenance was crazy. So we've pulled everything that was looking good. We've moved it, given it a new home, and then we're going to plant something new in here. If you guys have ideas for a perennial cut flower that you love that you think should go into this patch, I would love to hear about it. Let me know what you think. I have to just show you guys the wildest thing. So down here last year, we had a couple of rows of celosia and amaranth. And at the end of the season, we actually filled a lot of this in with the dirt that was collected from putting in the driveway. So we built this up to try to help with some of the drainage issues that we were having. Goodness, I can talk. I know how to talk. Um, so this was all filled up after we pulled all of our plants out. Then it was tarped for the entire winter. And then in the spring, we pulled off the tarp and tilled everything. And somehow, some of the seeds from the plants we had are still coming up. So this is a rudbeckia row, but I've got this amaranth plant just popping up here and here and here. And I believe over here we've got some celosia. This little guy is a celosia plant. All just popping up mixed in with our rudbeckia. We have some over here, like quite a few of them, all mixed in here with our baby's breath. And I noticed them popping up in a few different places, and I thought, okay, maybe I just put the seeds, like when I was planting the initial seeds, maybe I just kind of dropped some into my seed trays and didn't notice. But this is happening so often now that I'm convinced that the seeds are actually just in the ground and they are finding their way up, even through all that stuff that we did to them over the fall and the winter. Um, they are prolific, let me tell you. I'm very, very impressed. Okay, so that is the end of today's tour. If there's anything you didn't see or anything you have questions about, please let me know. I am going to be spending a good chunk of today cleaning out this shed because we have our electricians coming hopefully before the end of this week. So I want to make sure that they can actually work in that chaos. And then we are in the season of weeding and mulching and deadheading as things are just kind of growing like crazy here. So that will be the rest of my day. You can see the shed in my glasses in the background. That's so cool. That'll be the rest of my day here at the farm. I'm not going to take you long for that because cleaning a shed is boring, isn't it? Isn't it? Did you guys want to see that? I don't know. Let me know. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, maybe I won't show you guys everything, but I'll just do a little before and after of the tidying up that has to happen in here. Here's the before. Whew. Okay, guys, so here is the after. So a lot of what was in here was just boxes and bins and crates and tools, supplies. A lot of the stuff didn't actually belong in here, so I've got a bunch of cardboard outside that's been broken down, a little bit of garbage. That was mostly already full, so that wasn't all garbage I pulled out of here, and some wood left over from the project. And otherwise, yeah, we're all tidied up. So thanks again for watching. I'll keep you guys updated on the progress of the fridge. I'm very excited for that to be cold, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.